and then I'll put it on, and she'll sing along.
Mhm.
And I'm like, you do,
It's like
you do
trying
do, you
so
do.
hard, like in the car,
Rich,
like.
like, and the reason is you. She listens to Incubus too, but that's all right.
Incubus is all right. I got into Incubus for like 2 weeks at one point, like really into it. Like
But she listens to like early Incubus, which is not okay.
it's not all right. Um,
Not that whatever. You can listen to whatever you want. I'm just saying.
well, not really.
Not my wife.
Yeah, we're ready to go. We're recording on both sides.
Sounds okay here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of Does It Get Better? Episode lucky number 14.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Neil Rubenstein.
I'm Rich Gaccioni.
Today's episode. We're a mental health podcast. Blah blah blah. Today's episode is change.
Change.
I feel like there's two interpretations of change.
Mm-hmm.
There's internal and there's external. Internal can be like interpreted as like growth or growth, I guess. And then external is like we got to move to a place, or you're getting sued by a thing, or you know, just
Like
your daily routine is deviated
right.
in some and routine. Even that is like routine could be I'm home for 4 weeks and I'm on tour for 4 weeks and I do something else for 4 weeks and today I'm going to do a design that's still routine. That's still things that are within the world that you built for yourself.
Right.
Things you're comfortable doing. I watch TV for 4 hours a night, or I'm on the computer for whatever it is that you've built your internal thing. Not internal, your
routine.
the
Just
things,
your
the
life.
acceptable things
Yeah.
for you to do without
Judgment.
so it changes. Oh, I can't go on tour anymore.
Yeah.
Or it changes. I can't for like doing stand up.
Mm-hmm.
It's different every night. Sometimes it's not going out. Sometimes it's a Zoom show, whatever. And then breaking my leg. Like now I can't go to mics or go to shows. And it's not that I was doing the same thing. There was no routine, but I was doing a thing, and then I had to deviate from that thing. Getting bifocals. I'm used to looking straight ahead and feeling young, and now I have to look like this, and I feel old as shit.
Is this a new thing?
Yeah, this is the first day wearing them. I got them before I left for tour, and I was like, I'm never wearing these because they were like. I mean, we've talked about my eye situation, but they were like, you can get glasses for like computer and stuff, and a separate pair of glasses for your phone for reading.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, I'm not gonna take off glasses to put on a new pair. That's not gonna.
That's not gonna be a change in my life.
Never in my life am I gonna do that. I will just be blind. It's fine.
Phone glasses.
I am fine with seeing blurry stuff. I wore these glasses today in a Zoom chat with a guy I had been in a Zoom chat a dozen times, and was like, "Oh, I didn't realize he had bad skin." Like that. That's how much difference. But then they were like, all right, well, what are the bifocals? And then I was like, I guess, I mean, I'm not 90, but I'll try them. And then I put them on the first day I got them. I put them on. I was like, I'm never using these. And I just put them in a box.
Yeah.
But then yesterday, I started walking around with a cane.
How'd that go? Congratulations.
It feels amazing.
I bet it does.
I mean, it's discomfortable. And it hurts.
Oh, that's a new word.
But
discomfortable.
Well, there's discomfort.
Yeah.
And I'm on this new kick of like changing language. I don't know. I feel like
hey, on the
I
topic
don't even know
of
if that's a new
change.
thing for me. Like what?
On the topic of change, let's just change language.
That's not even a new thing for me. Like I've always been like kind of like into lingo.
Yeah, yeah.
But now I'm like
A
now I'm
wordsmith.
actively and now I'm like, oh no, I'm a what do they call it? A word person? Wordsmith. What are we talking about?
No, Wordstein. Wordstein.
I'm a wordstein. A Bernstein. So yes,
So
math.
change being a topic, right? And change. I was thinking when you hit me up and asked about the topic, I was like, change. Okay, just kind of run it through my head. Obviously, there's good change and bad change, and there's also the point where you. It kind of was like what I wanted to talk about too. So it kind of goes hand in hand. Is like the point where you recognize when you need to change a certain thing, and then when you actually have changed that thing. I think what I wanted to touch on was like recognition of change or something like. So it's good we talk about change today, because it kind of goes hand in hand what I've been thinking about lately. And sometimes you don't realize you're changing until it's changed, and sometimes you're like, you've been doing a thing your whole entire life and you should have changed it a long time ago, and it takes like a really big situation to realize, oh, I gotta change. So yeah.
And also the fighting against it, like,
Mm-hmm.
because I mean we do this a lot, not even meaning to, but like, I mean, you take the optimistic side and I take the negative side. But so you're saying, like, you're talking about change as in growth and moving on, and 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 for me, change is like, you resist. I try not to. I want to be better,
Mm-hmm.
but there's some things, and I know my wife is uh, very resistant to change, and I should it doesn't better or worse person. Just some people are built for it.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are built to throw their stuff in a bag and move on, and some
Right.
people. I used to like, some people know how to drive stick. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, some people just can't change gears, and some people
Right.
it came naturally. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm vibing. It's excuse me. It's
COVID.
I know, right? Anything now. Um the concept of change is always, I think, if we say like change, I think that it has an automatic like preconceived notion of, like, when you say change, it's like for the better. Like, oh, we have to change that because the end result will be like better for you somehow. Um, and sometimes it's just like you just need to fix a routine, or you need to fix a part of your life that is in need of change. But change sometimes becomes like an urgency, like where I was at. Like, I definitely needed to change so many different things about myself, like the way I was thinking, and the physical things, and the mental things, and the daily routine. Like, everything in my life at one point all needed to change. And I think, like, I think back now and I look at myself in that like situation of having like this mountain of emotional like negativity on me, and being like, how the F am I going to change all of this stuff? And then you kind of just like, that's your moment of like letting it win, or trying to change, or like taking that step. It's like you're holding up a thing, you don't know how much longer you can hold it up. And for me, the change was, if I think about it now, my change point, or what I call change, is actually asking for help, because I had never done that. Was the key change point, is like asking and sort of like giving light to the fact that I had a lot of problems.
You never put yourself first.
No.
The 50,000 years that I've known you, it's always been, oh well, my mom, or oh well, my sisters, or oh well, Kim back in the day. You know what I mean? It was always
Mm-hmm.
like, it was always other people first. I mean, which is, what everyone loves about you. Like, we love you,
Right.
but it it shouldn't define you.
Yeah. No, it's,
And
you're
you
right.
should,
You're right.
and you need to, and this is a time when you needed to put yourself first. And when you told me about that,
Mm-hmm.
I was more surprised. Like, I was less surprised that you had gotten to that point, and more surprised that you allowed yourself to accept it.
Mm.
Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Sorry, please continue.
No, no, I like your input.
I'm in a very manic state right
No,
now,
it's
obviously.
it's good. It's fine. No, it's, yeah, it's like I was getting told from different angles up to that like point of me like picking up the phone, going to the psychiatric hospital for a week, and I was getting told from different places, you need to change, you need to do something about this, you need to, and I was like, yes, I do, but you know me, and you just kind of addressed it. It's always like, it's always somebody or something else first before me, right? And if somebody's there sitting in front of me like, you need to do this, I can't, because I need someone else to do it for me.
Or what if we were like, I need you to get help? Would that have worked? Would that have?
It's in a weird way, yeah. In a weird way, it definitely would have been like, oh, okay, you need that, I'll do that for you. And it's like, and you know what? There was a little.
Like, your mom and I really need.
Yeah, no,
you to stop self-harming.
That's yeah. That is really, that would have been a better way to approach it, because when, for me anyway, this is how I feel when things are like, you need to get help. To me, that seems like I'm getting yelled at, reprimanded. It's a negative interaction. Mm-hmm. If it was, you know what, we include the other person, we should get you some help. That right there, nowadays, would be like, all right, you're on my team, you know. Hearing just a different way of phrasing a you know, an offer of like help or suggestion.
Yeah. Well, that's that's one of the things that I think is corny about therapy is like, we feel that it would be better, and it's like, you're just rephrasing a reprimand.
Yeah, yeah.
Like if you come at me with a we feel, I'm like, listen. Like, don't talk to me like that. But like, I do recognize that it does work better for other people.
It just, if you hear something a certain way, for sure, it's just like, it's like, yeah.
I'm just too much of a contrarian that for me it's just a trigger.
it's the middle finger. Yeah, no, and just like, I just feel like, because last night, I don't know if you saw, I posted something on Instagram from a mental health thing, just about like recognizing the difference between like mental wellness and well-being and like mental illness and mental health issues.
And you were raising some money for some...
No, that was something else. That was something different. Some
other charity I do.
That's
no,
that I did post something. My friend from Oakland's dog passed away a couple days ago. Stella, yeah. So he was on Twitch. Dan was on Twitch doing some like a DJ set on Twitch, and a whole bunch of people came in and raised some money for Jack Russell. So R.I.P. Stella. I used to watch her when Dan needed like a dog sitter or whatever when I lived in Oakland. She was George's first friend and all that. So shout out to Stella. She was a wonderful girl. 18 years old. No, the change aspect of like, I had so many points in which I personally could have changed my path, right? I thought I was all right, and then I was like, all right, no, I'm not all right. I'm hitting things. I'm hurting myself. This isn't right, but I could change it. And it was like that whole, like you said, it's like almost stereotypical. You see someone like, I'll start tomorrow. I'll change tomorrow. Oh, I did it this time. You know what? This is going to be the last time. Almost like an addiction. It was like, I recognized it. Like the rational side of me recognized that my mental health was not well, but I was like, I'm strong enough that I can just stop doing this at any time. And as I was spiraling over the months of being alone and just kind of like, all right, I'll change tomorrow. Okay, this week I'm going to do yoga every day for a half hour. Okay, cool. Let me just try this. Okay, I did it. So I changed the routine in hopes that it would maybe, lighten up a little bit of the mental like workload that I was going through. And it's just like, it was a temporary fix. It was just like in that moment, yeah, it felt fine. But then later that night, I would get frustrated and just do it again, and then spiral more, and then spiral more. And as I was like addressing a couple things, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine who hit me up about the mental health post that I had put up last night. I mean, this came out of nowhere too. He was just like, yo, I didn't realize I had something as wrong as I did until my friend told me about where he was at. And this was recently too. This is during COVID. This is during, everybody is at a different place with them being locked down, isolated, all that sort of stuff. And it led him to a point of like recognizing that his thoughts were wrong and then he needed to get help, and he got help. And that's I saw myself in that same thing, but I was just looking at another version of myself. By the time I was like in my basement, like pulling my hair out, literally not knowing like what day or what year it was anymore, and having this like manic fucking episode of being like, who am I? Why am I here? Why am I so upset? What's going on? Getting in a room of 6 other people at a psychiatric institute at 9:00 in the morning, and finally talking about what was going on with me and what I wanted to change, and hearing these other people say very similar things and why they wanted to change, that was the genesis of like my actual change. You know what I mean? It was like hearing other people address their issues and hearing sort of similar stories and not being alone. And I've brought up this before on the podcast about just kind of like, when you're not alone, it's one of the biggest reliefs that you can have. Because for me, I thought this whole thing, I don't even know what to even call it, just this whole process of being so depressed and so mentally unwell was like, I was like the only person in the history of the earth to ever feel this way. But then I get in a room with 6 other strangers, and like 5 of those 6 people shared all of similar things. And you're like, oh man, what a relief. You know what I mean? Like, oh, good, I'm not the only one, And that was the point where I could change. That's where I could like talk freely and not feel judged. I could ask for opinion. These are all strangers, so it doesn't matter what I say or don't say. They're not my friends. They're not my family, so I can speak openly. And getting to the point where you're sharing your concern with somebody else, that's going to be a point of change. I think that's really important for people to hear, is that if you, and I know it's so difficult to talk, because that's what, I'm like rambling, but it's a good ramble, because I was going through so much. I was afraid to share certain things with certain people because I didn't want to hurt their feelings. I didn't want their reaction. That's one of my big things. I don't want to like burden anybody. I don't want anybody to get mad at me because I'm feeling a different way than I'm supposed to, which pisses me off at this point in my life. Like, no, Rich is the happy guy. He's always got to, like, got to get over that one, because I'm not always the happy guy, and I try to be, I want to be, but it shouldn't be expected. But if at some point I would have been able to talk freely and get better advice than I did when I first went to my first therapist, I don't think I would have ended up in the spot where I was in, but I did. I got to therapy. I got to these meetings. I got to this therapy program, and I was able to change. And it's a positive change, and I changed a lot of things too. It's like, went through all these different systems of how to think, and if you have a moment where you feel like you're getting triggered on something or whatever, my therapist and all these meetings gave me all these tools and tools to change. And that's where I've been. Like last night I had like I had this moment. I like saw something on my YouTube recommended things, and it reminded me of something that I didn't want to be reminded of. But what I did is I watched it for a minute to cycle through that like need to feel sad about something. And then I deleted that recommendation. Like I was like, all right, I know this is going to bum me out. I bummed myself out from it, but I controlled all of it. It wasn't like a fucking, spiraling moment. I saw it. I recognized that it was going to bum me out. I wanted to feel that way for a second because I knew it was going to bother me if I didn't. It was just, just the way I think. So I watched it. I deleted the recommendation, and I moved on. 8 months ago, it would have been a fucking there would have been a broken hand, and it's just like, it's a long hard road, and I've been given certain tools to deal with certain things so I can change for the better.
You said hard.
I did. That's what you took away from that.
You said long and hard.
So if you wanted to change something for yourself right now, what's one thing that you would want to change?
That's a tough. My inability to accept change. No. I just want, and today it was okay, but I want to be able to wake up and be like, all right, let's exercise, let's eat right today, let's, do the things we got to do to like lose some weight, get walking,
Right.
um, the thing with the walking though, like that's the one thing, like I mean, you know how I am when I get like motivated on something,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like I started booking a tour for April, and I booked some shows on Long Island for like March, and I'm like, I have to be walking.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna be walking. That's it. So, like, they gave me. This is like a whole. Gave me prescription for physical therapy,
Mm-hmm.
and then I can't make an appointment because my insurance needs a referral from my PCP, and my PCP is on vacation for 2 weeks. So then I called insurance to switch my PCP, and the new guy doesn't take new clients. So then I had to change it again, and the woman called the place, and they still. So
Of course.
I was like, I was like, by the time I have it, first of all, if I stay on the phone with these people any longer, I'm gonna need to check myself into a clinic.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
I'm getting off the phone. I'm screaming at the lady. I'm like, how does this even make sense? So um I forget what happened. Oh, so I by the time I get the appointment, I'm gonna be walking.
Right.
So
Right.
I'm just like, F it, I'm walking.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mhm.
just, I know the doctor was like, don't get crazy, but I'm crazy. So I got crazy. And so yesterday, and like, so it was Wednesday was the day that the doctor was like, go ahead and try to like start
Mm-hmm.
walking and stuff. And I went to do something, and Kathleen was like, just let me do it. You can't do it. And I couldn't do it. And I was like, yeah, but I have to do it. You know what I mean? So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, that's fine, help me now, but I'm gonna try this again in a couple of hours,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna try it again tonight, and I'm gonna try it again tomorrow, and I'm gonna keep trying it until I can do it. So don't tell me I can't do it. Like, yeah, of course I can't do it. I have to do it though. You know? So so with that, it's like I've just been
You just have to. You just
I've
have to
just
do
been
it.
doing
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
look, they said you're gonna be on the walker for a few days, maybe a week, and he was cool. He was like, oh, I don't want to give you a time frame. He goes, I was like, how long? Before I'm like, walking, fine, no assistance. And he's like, I don't want to tell you a month, and it takes you 2 months, and you feel bad.
Right.
I'm like, oh, so up to 2 months, great, thank you. And yeah, everything I read was like, oh, you're gonna be on the walker for like a week or two, and then you move on to a cane or whatever. I'm on a cane day 2.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wasn't waiting. I'm not waiting, and it sucked and it hurt, and I went to bed with ice on my ankle,
Mm-hmm.
and then I got up and I did it again.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not waiting. Like, I'm not. So when I want to make a change, when I want to do something, I don't. It doesn't matter how difficult it is. Like, I want to do it. I do
You
it.
said it in your mind, and like there's no other option for you essentially.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I wish I could. I I wish it was that way with some other stuff for sure. Like, diet and exercise would be a great thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, we saw how that goes too. Like, that got in my head, whatever it was, 10 years ago.
Right.
And by the end of it, I was more miserable than I'd ever been in my life,
Yeah.
because I cut out the enjoyment of life.
Right. Right.
And it was just all about 5 hours a day on the treadmill and
Mm-hmm.
only eating celery, and it's like, well, I like wings and I want a slice of pizza on
Yeah.
weekends and
Yeah.
I want to go get tacos. Like
Mm-hmm.
I can't take that stuff out of my life. I get it bums
Man,
me
diet.
out.
Yeah, dieting and removing food and stuff. That's so difficult, and it's like, there's ways around it nowadays. It's like, I think it's like people's like initial and only thought is like, if you want to lose weight, you got to stop eating all the stuff, stop eating everything you enjoy, and that's not actually how it works. And you can
Yeah.
you can still enjoy food and be on a diet. And yeah, it's you got to be able to enjoy something, because like you're saying, it's just gonna be miserable in the end.
Someone like 6 or 7 years ago was just like, oh, I just eat normal size portions.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it took a really long time to lose the weight, but I lost the weight because
Mm-hmm.
I just stopped eating like a fat slob. And like that's really what I need to do
Yeah.
is, and I have since breaking my leg, like I'm eating a portion. You know what I mean?
Yo, let
Like,
me ask you a question. Sorry to interrupt, but
go ahead.
I've always wanted to sort of address this. Are you eating a portion for Neil, or are you eating a portion that's on the back of the label? Or
Oh no, I'm eating a portion for Neil.
okay.
I'm
All
not,
right.
but I will say, like, we started doing we did like a trial Hello Fresh for
Uh-huh.
like three
Uh-huh.
weeks,
Yep.
and those are human portions.
Yep. Because
And
we're both bigger dudes. We're both bigger
yeah,
dudes. There's no secret there. And I enjoy eating, and I've always wondered if I want to do this so bad, and it's one of those things that's just like, I talk about it, one day I'm just gonna do it. I want to go like a month, right, and eat exactly how the back of the label says to eat for like one portion or like one serving. I want to eat that way and see how miserable of a human I would be in the end of a month by just eating the way the label says to.
well, so I think, well, because like with Hello Fresh, I feel like I am eating what the label is telling you to
Mm-hmm.
eat. Like it's a
It's a
two
portion. Yeah,
servings,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and they don't specify like, oh, my wife is very tiny and I
Right.
need this kind of, like they don't say, oh, well then you take 2/3 and give
Yeah,
her
yeah,
that. They
yeah,
don't do that. It's just
yeah.
it's two
It's
chicken
two.
cutlets,
Yep.
you have one, she has one.
Yep.
Two pork chops, you have one, she has one.
God,
Two
I'm
potatoes,
so
you have one,
hungry.
she has one.
I'm so
What?
hungry. I'm so hungry. Like, hearing you say like how little food there is, I'm like, oh, I'm still hungry. What's next?
But I will say that not being able to get up to like feed myself
Mm.
or to like look in the fridge
Mm-hmm.
or to raid the cabinet, that first 2 weeks, 3 weeks, eating just with the hospital, 1 week of just the hospital food,
Yeah.
and then 2 weeks of just sitting on the couch, whatever my wife gave me was what I had.
Yeah.
I definitely, my appetite shrunk
Right.
for
Right.
sure.
Yeah.
And now, pig out maybe. Like yesterday, I pigged out on lunch, but then I didn't eat again.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm sure. Oh, you gotta
Yeah.
eat. I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
sure someone's got something to say about it, but I felt better about it. You know what I mean? Like I ate like a sandwich in the morning, and then my friends came over, and we ordered pinatas for lunch, and I had a burrito enchilada style with all the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I got sweet plantains on the side, and then that was it. And then I just, I was good. I was good to go. I didn't feel hungry. And then I woke up this morning again. I had a couple of clementines. I made a
Mm-hmm.
sandwich for lunch.
Mm-hmm.
When we finish this, I'll probably order in food, so it'll get here like 4 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
See if I can get up the stairs. We're gonna try
Good. That's a
stairs
good
today.
cheat. No, be careful now. Be careful now.
I don't do
That's
that.
good.
I don't do careful. We're gonna get up the stairs today, and I'm gonna eat probably a big fat guy meal at 4,
Yep. Do
and
you
then
get
I'll be
hungry? Do
done.
you get hungry at night? Are you one of those people that has to eat at night? Because I am, and it's awful.
I use so this was just like a bad habit, and I'm gonna try not to do this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But I would come home from an open mic at 2 in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
Taco Bell, no matter what, no matter what. stopping at or the halal guys,
Mm-hmm.
Shahs or halal boys on North Service Road, South Service Road. Like there was always like a fast, cheap meal middle of the night
Right. Yep.
in the early like late early AMs. And yeah, I mean obviously I haven't done that since I've been home because I can't. Also, I'm gonna say it goes back as far as like on tour, so I probably haven't eaten like that since October.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, you know what? I haven't eaten like that since the pandemic started. I haven't eaten like that in a year
Because it's
now.
like because afterwards everybody would either get together and go out, or you'd have food after
Yeah,
the show, whatever. Yeah. Yep.
but since being home, my wife she doesn't eat like that, so we haven't done
Right.
it.
Well, that's good. That's good. Yeah.
Huh.
That's a good
I wonder
change.
why I gained so much weight during pandemic. So I wasn't eating late at night. Hmm.
It might be one of those situations where you're like, I didn't eat a lot today, but then you stop and you think at how much you actually did eat, like throughout the day. Like you're just like snacking on stuff. I'm gonna have a little of this. Oh, for dinner I'll have this. I'll have a little of that. Then I'll have a little. Because that's what I catch myself doing. Is like still, I try really really hard to watch when and what I eat. But then some days I'll sit there and it's like 9:30. I'm on the couch. I've eaten dinner already, and then I'll be like, whoa, how did I? Oh, I ate that at like noon, and then a little later and especially when I'm cooking too. Like if I have like orders to make and stuff, like I make stuff in
Yeah.
batches, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
you just have a carb sandwich.
Yeah,
Instead of a slice
it's
of bread
a-
between two slices of bread.
yeah, exactly. I have a fucking bread sandwich, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna make. And the other night I was craving my own bread, and of course I'm like, all right, I just whipped up a batch of, and it's like I whip up 20 rolls in one batch. So I gave like half of them away so I wouldn't have them. And then I had like 4 still sitting in my bread box. And I'm like, well, they're going to go bad in a day and a half. So I might as well. And it's like, I'm like, ugh. So it's like, that's a change that I need to make. It's willpower. It's like, it's sheer willpower to be able to just like not eat the food when you want it. It's not even like I'm hungry. It's like it's there, you know?
Compulsory.
Ugh, and it sucks. It sucks. But now that I have my weights and stuff, it's like I'm able to bounce those things off of one another because I physically, like after we're done with this, I'm going to go work out downstairs because I know I have plans to eat a vegan pizza later. So I'm like, let me put this. That's a good change that I've made with my relationship with food is that if I work out, I physically and mentally can allow myself to like be okay with eating. You should be okay with eating as is if you're eating like a normal person. But sometimes I don't eat like a normal person. Sometimes I eat like a person who hasn't eaten in 3 days. Like I'm just like for no reason.
Yeah, I eat like a person with an eating disorder
Yes.
because I have one. I have an unhealthy relationship with food, therefore I am unhealthy.
Here we go. Yeah.
It's like not a. There's no trick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
not a shock. It's like, oh, like, you're you've been bred a certain way, and bread.
Bread. Yeah, I'm always in awe at people who are like who wake up, have breakfast, and it's like this little tiny meal, and then they have lunch and it's like a little tiny meal, and then dinner time's like a little bit bigger of a meal, but it's like a tiny in comparison to what I'm used to eating. And like that's a healthy relationship with food, like breakfast, lunch, dinner, maybe a snack or whatever. But I look at the amount of food I eat sometimes. Like last night I was like eating and I was like, stop. Like in my head I was like, stop eating now. Like I made a bunch of, like what I do is I make food that I can have for like 3 to 4 days. So like I'll make that much food so I don't have to, because I'm just don't want to cook every day. And the trouble with that, and something I need to stop, is if I make 4 days worth of food, do you think it lasts 4 days? No.
No,
It lasts like a day and a half.
I'll be surprised if that's 4 hours.
No. So that it's these mental gymnastics of like, all right, I'm doing something good. Like I'm gonna make food. I have 4 days worth of food. I don't call it meal prep because I just don't like that term because it's not. It's just like I'm making food to be not lazy, and make a bunch. And here I am. And then it's just like a day and a half later, I look and I'm like, oh, why did you do that? You know, I don't have that voice. I don't have that, like, that alarm to be like, all right, you had enough. Because, like, I don't even know if I'm hungry half the time, you know? And to balance it out, though, like I was saying, it's just like, all right, I got my weights into the basement. I have my whole setup. I'm able to just, like, go down 7 steps and start working out and I'm not making an excuse, but to correlate the amount that I ate versus the amount I'm going to work out. So trying to make that change slowly, but it's like sometimes, man, yesterday I was like on the top of my steps, like ready to go work out. And I was just like, I have zero motivation to do this. Zero. Like, no, like I don't want to do this. I went downstairs. I looked at my weights. I was like, hi, I'll see you later.
Bye, wait. Bye.
I did laundry instead, but
Ooh.
yeah, I don't know. It's there's so many. Maybe this week I'll like write down every time I see like, or I encounter something that I want to change or something that could benefit from a change. I'm gonna write it down and see. I'm gonna connect the dots and see how many of those things correlate with one another. That'd be a cool little practice, you know?
Yeah.
Because I know I've come a long way since last summer, and as I'm looking at the calendar and like planning things, I'm like, oh, wow, March is a week and a half away, so June is 2 months away. It's like, how did this happen? But I want to make sure that by the time I come up on this like year anniversary of like the worst days of my life, that I can comfortably like discuss it, which I have been, we have been on this podcast, but being like, all right, where was I 365 days ago? All right. And where am I now? All right. And what, maybe make a little list. Like, all right, what can I still work on? What still needs some change? What has changed? And I mean, the what has changed is huge. I mean, I have a lot of support from friends like yourself and my family to something for me, which is big, is somebody just being like, yes, you did good there. You went from point A to point B and you've benefited yourself and we're proud of you, or we're happy for you, or any positive reinforcement goes so far with me, because I never feel like I'm doing anything good ever, even if that's all I'm doing. It's like, but these like change points are really important for me. And I don't know, I hold a lot of weight on anniversaries. I think I've discussed that before. Like,
yeah, and what do you call them? Flag.
Yeah, the checkpoints. But
respawn moment.
Yeah, my spawn points. Yeah. I don't know. I'm going to. I booked a trip for myself, so I'm going away next month.
Where you going?
Las Vegas, Nevada. You heard of it?
I have heard of it. When are you going?
So I got an email from MGM Properties yesterday offering me 4 free nights in 2 different properties, or 2 free nights in other ones. And I decided I wanted to go to Las Vegas in March for just because. Then I got this email yesterday morning and I looked and I got 4 free nights, March 26th through the 30th. All I have to pay for is obviously resort fees, which are bogus.
Which
but
is the price of a hotel room.
It's the price of a hotel room, $30 each.
$35.
Mm-hmm. So I got 4 free nights. The four nights is going to cost me $170 at the Delano, which was the Monte Carlo, and then they rebranded it or whatever. And then I got a flight for $245. So I got a good Vegas trip planned for the end of the month. And my friend actually,
George Reynolds lives out there now.
Who does?
George Reynolds.
Oh, no way. In Las Vegas? Las Vegas?
Yep.
Las Vegas? Oh,
Yep,
cool.
I hung out with him when I was there. Yeah,
That's awesome. It's March Madness that weekend, so
cool.
I picked
Gamble.
sports bet.
Yeah. Is that an addiction of yours? Do you have to struggle with that, or can you do that casually?
No, it's not. It's not. if I sports bet, it's literally like I'll put the money. I won't even probably watch the sporting event that surrounds it until like
Nice.
when it's done.
Nice. I can't casually do that. Otherwise, I would totally be doing that.
Really?
No, I can't casually. That's one bet, and then 6 hours later, I run a bookie operation. I can't be a part of that. I was just there. I was there in mid-November, right before the ankle.
Oh, right.
Yeah, man. Natalie Vazilla lives out there.
That's right.
John Haas, BJ Sandu, Carlos Rodriguez just moved there. A lot of friends, and
I like it out there. I'm gonna take my usual stroll through the
vegan tacos at Beer and Tacos. It's a place called Beer and Tacos.
All right, beer and tacos.
It's like the road right behind the strip, and they have vegan tacos. A lot of them.
I'll eat them. I just want to play poker with real people again. So
Yeah.
they have so many casinos are open and functioning with live poker. So I just want to get a session.
It was crazy to see that when we were out there, like just people just being people.
People being yeah.
I mean, it had worn off. The novelty had worn off a little bit because I had just been to like Wichita, where people were really being people. But then when I got to Vegas, I was like, just fucking standing next to somebody, playing blackjack for like an hour and a half. Like, no way.
Yeah, so I'm excited to do that. That's
awesome. You've been talking about that for a while.
Yeah.
You want to go do it anyway.
Yeah, it's for me. The way my brain works is like it's difficult for me to make a decision that the end result is something for myself.
Right.
Like I'm just like I'm not
Your
one of those.
mother and I need you to go to Vegas.
Okay. All right. That's what I need.
We need you to play poker. If you don't play, we need you to play.
If somebody was being like, yo, just do it. I'd be like, okay, all right, fine. I guess I'll do something nice for myself.
Treat yourself.
But no, that if I hadn't gotten that email that from MGM for free hotel rooms, I probably wouldn't have. But then I saw the flight out of Providence too, which is amazing because most of the time the better deals are from Boston, and I hate doing that whole like drive 45 minutes, pay to park, because like I'm not going to ask my friend to bring me to the airport, and you can't take a train to the airport in Boston, which is unreal. It's 2021, like you should be able to like take a train to it.
You never fly out of New York? I mean, drive down, stay with your mom, and then take a train to JFK?
No, I haven't done that yet. So I mean, that's a possibility, but Providence is finally like functioning like a real airport. Like it's such a tiny little like it's like the Wings airport. It's got like 2 counters and like 4 people work at it.
I watched a couple episodes on Pluto TV.
Did you?
Yeah. I had a writing group over here like 2 weeks ago. I was surprised I didn't talk to you about this. Had a writing group over here like 2 weeks ago, and you start talking. Oh, that bit reminds me of this thing, and then you put it on YouTube and you find the thing, and then and then before you know it, the writing group is devolved into just we're watching
YouTube.
TV. And then like we broke to eat. We broke for like a lunch, and I just like wanted to put something on the background, and I already had Apple TV on, so I was like, oh, I'll put on. My buddy told me about this Pluto TV thing. I did the whole thing, and they have a Family Ties channel.
That's right. Yep.
And so I saw the Wing. I was like, oh, and I put on Wing, and none of the guys over here had ever even seen it. They're like mid-20s.
Okay.
So they
All right.
didn't even know what it was. So I put it on, and they're like, "Oh, that's the guy from Monk," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's the guy from Monk." And that was the day that I texted you, and I was like, "Ron, whatever."
Oh, Roy Biggins died? Question mark.
Because like we just started like Googling everybody.
Yeah.
Who's this guy? But yeah, we saw a couple episodes. We saw the one where the lady runs for mayor
Yep.
against Roy Biggins,
Mm-hmm.
and we saw the episode where the dumb guy. It was such a good joke, man. He's sleeping in the plane naked, and they're
Mm-hmm.
like, "Why are you sleeping naked in the plane?" And he's like, "I always sleep naked." It was like, "Yeah, but all right."
Lol. Lol.
It was his wife was cheating on him.
Yeah, Bunny. Yeah, they were. He didn't want to accept that she was cheating on him and stuff.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
those were the two. Those were the two episodes we watched.
that's great. I love that show so much. It's my now that they took The Office off of Netflix, that was like my like turn it on and like just let it play at bedtime thing.
Is your friends?
Yeah, exactly. So now that the Pluto has that station, I throw that on now and I just go to sleep with wings on, which is
I wanna use Pluto more often because like I saw like a lot of cool channels, but
Mhm.
like I'm just so addicted to just like putting on Friends and leaving it on that
Wow.
I'm just like
That's an
it's gonna be
interesting. Everybody has their one. Everyone has their one show, and it's interesting to learn
what it
some.
is.
Yeah,
What
like
is
I'm very surprised that Friends is your show. I wouldn't have.
Friends is. I just did a podcast where all I did was talk about Friends. It was just me defending Friends. Friends is top three sitcoms of all time,
Okay.
easily. It's the first sitcom to pay three female leads
Mm-hmm.
$1 million an episode,
Wow.
constantly passes the Bechdel test, normalized gay marriage, normalized surrogate motherhood, normalized yeah, it had some cringeworthy moments, but it was, and there was, a lack of diversity.
Sure.
It was the late '90s. That wasn't really on trend at the
Right.
moment. But no one was paying three female leads the amount of money that those women were making.
Yeah.
That's got to count for something. As soon as it became on trend to do like a diversity thing, Aisha Taylor was a love interest, and no one was showing mixed race things back
Right.
then. From season one, the 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 ex-wife was in a gay marriage, was in a gay relationship. They showed a gay wedding on television. No one was doing that in at that time. You know what I mean?
I
Like
never
they
knew.
were
I never knew.
really
Yeah. Never knew
they were
how diverse. I mean how
inclusive.
progressive. Or
Yeah.
yeah.
And people always crap on that show like, "Oh, it wasn't diverse." Like, yeah, it wasn't diverse cuz like nothing was diverse at the
Yeah.
moment. Like
You're right. Yeah.
Seinfeld wasn't either, and
Yeah. Think of
Wings
the early
wasn't, and
'90s. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
like none of the things were like you can't hold it to today's standard. Obviously, it's not the same, but if you do hold it to their standards, it's incredibly progressive.
Mm-hmm.
Just the normalizing gay marriage in itself, like massive moment,
Yeah.
and no one gives them credit for that. And the fact that Jennifer Aniston, Courtney Cox, and Lisa Kudrow were making a million, $20 million a season each.
Jesus.
Find
Jeez
me
Louise.
three. Find me three actresses on TV right now across that are making $20 million a season.
Mm-hmm.
On any, find me three. And they had three on one show, and you're gonna crap on the show. All right, well, they closed the wage gap and they
Yeah.
broke the glass ceiling. So I don't know what more progress you want from a TV show.
That's
You
awesome.
wanted two black characters and an Asian guy. Okay, sorry that they didn't know
Yeah.
to do that.
Yeah.
It didn't occur to them. I'm sorry.
I didn't know your love for Friends was so deep. It's great.
Oh, dude, I will fight. I will die on that hill. Because it's brilliantly written. It's a masterclass in how to write sitcoms.
Yeah.
It's brilliantly written, and as the trend moved towards uh seasonal arcs versus episodic shows,
Mm-hmm.
they took it in stride and they moved in that direction. And every season has a big overall arch. and everything ties together. And if you watch a season like, you know, episode to episode,
Mhm.
you can get lost in where you are
Interesting.
because it's just so fluid. The first season, not so much, but you know, they didn't know that that was going to be a thing.
Right. Right.
Ah, it's a great show. Unbelievable.
I love how you do what I do when you're like wings and I go we have it. I love that. That's so good. It'll teach everybody something about good television.
That, and I can also yeah. I love that's where are we, because it's like a good stopping point. I feel like
We could- we
stopped
could-
talking about change and just started talking about
Well, we could bring it back to
I guess it's personal growth.
we can bring
You
it
know,
back.
you're taking a vacation you deserve. That's personal growth.
Yeah, it was yeah, on the subject of our podcast, change, right? Yes, I was able to. All right, so let me walk through real quick because we still got a good, like 10 minutes or so before the hour's up. So yesterday, got an email. Here, we're gonna offer you this. I mean, that's the point of the offers are to get you to do it, right? But
Yeah.
why not take advantage of it? If there was any catch to it, I wouldn't have done it. Got an email, looked, I was like, no way. Went online, logged into my M Life account, whatever, for MGM. And I was like, oh, cool, this is legit. Like, if I book from here to here, it's all comped rooms, this, that, the other thing. I was like, oh, all right, well, let me think about it. And then I looked up plane tickets, and I was like, oh, well, yeah, but I got to find somebody to watch George and the cat. You know, I don't want to burden anybody. But
Of course.
my friend Jen is always very, very helpful when it comes to like pet sitting. So I texted her. I was like, hey, does that offer still stand for you to watch the animals if I go away? She was like, absolutely, go away. It's just
Go
like,
away.
go away.
The bricks.
So I come back. I look at the airline flights again. Wow, okay, $245 round trip. Okay, cool. And then I called my friend in California who you actually met, Stefan, my friend who came out. It was like me, Brad, and Stefan when we were in not in California. We were in Las Vegas when you were out there. We all went to dinner at
Right.
at Mandalay Bay. And Natalie?
That donut place. Yeah, Natalie.
Yeah.
We went to that donut place.
Yeah, exactly.
Did we hang out with Brian Diaz at all? 'Cause I know I was hanging out with him that weekend too.
You and I met him over at Hard Rock because was it Guns N' Roses was out there or something?
Guns N' Roses. He was
Yeah.
working for Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
He
So
was Tommy's bass tech.
that's right. So I called my friend Stefan. I was like, yo, because he loves Vegas trips. He lives in California. I was like, yo, I'm going to probably do Vegas. Do you want, are you free? Whatever. So we went back and forth, whatever. And he was like, yo, actually, if you go on that weekend, the 26th or the whatever, that's March Madness. I could drive up. He drives, so he's in Southern California. I was like, all right. And I was looking, and I was like, what if I book the room and if I have to cancel? And then the cancellation policy is I can cancel up to 24 hours before the reservation. So I was like, fuck it. Let me just reserve the 4 free nights now. And if I want to cancel it, I can cancel it. So I did that while I was on the phone with him. And he's like, yeah, just look at airline flights. I could probably come for the weekend. I got to work, whatever. But, he put that bug in my ear of like, hanging out, like seeing somebody I haven't seen in a while. So I looked at the airline flight last night and it was still $250. I got into bed and I was like, all right, let me just mill it around, whatever. Let me just think about it. And that's the danger. That's the thing I need to change is like thinking about it, because if I think about something, I won't do it. I'll just let it
Why is that?
It's like, because I feel like I don't deserve it, or I feel like I could be doing something better or different with that energy. And like, I've been like that my whole life. Like,
I sometimes I get like buyer remorse, but I never. I feel like if I think about it, I just I psych myself up for it.
Oh, you do the opposite of what I do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, if I'm like right now, I'm like, oh, I should go to Vegas when Rich is in Vegas.
Right?
Yo, like by 6:00 tonight, I'm gonna be texting you like, yo, book my flight.
I do the exact opposite. I talk myself out of it because it's always a money thing for me. Even if I have the freaking stupid money, the $200 that it's going to cost, right? Even if I have this money saved and put away, which I do, I'm like, no, you know what? I could use that money to put towards this, a thing that I probably will never put it towards. You know what I mean? But Go ahead.
Dude, I listen. I mean, this is why I'm filing for bankruptcy. But here's my philosophy on that. If I save $50 on whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
it's not like in 6 months I'm gonna have $50.
Right. Right.
If I save it on this, I don't spend $50 on the plane ticket, upgrading my seat to a better leg room,
Mm-hmm.
I just spend it on some other bull crap
Right. Right.
that I don't. You know what I mean? Like, spend it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can't take it with you. We're gonna die at some point, and then we're gonna be oh, thank God I had
A dead guy with $50. It's definitely, so for me, it's definitely a way I was brought up thing. Like my family, my mom and I and my sisters, we never had extra money. You know what I mean? Right. So if we had extra money,
we never did either. But I think that's why I'm so, because like they were so frugal about everything, and it's like when they died broke anyway. It wasn't like they figured it out.
Right. Right. Yeah, I think
like,
that's.
I died broke. I might as well enjoy tomorrow.
Yeah, that's a good point. That is a good point. Yeah, and I mean the world. You know what?
Listen, money's going to be devalued by the end of the month,
dude. I know. It's
know?
It's crazy. But unless
you have a dog coin or whatever they call it.
I wish. I go back to the day where like Bitcoin was just like a. What the fuck is Bitcoin? And I was like an inch close to like doing the whole thing. And then I, again, talked myself out of it because I had to buy something in order to do it. But I'm not going to kick myself for that one. That's just.
Yeah, you can't. That's a tough one. That's a have you know.
But.
I told you that I'm the only person on earth that lost money on Apple, right?
No.
You don't know that?
No.
Yeah. Yeah, I bought Apple, and then it dropped 40 points.
Whoa.
And then because it was like joining the NASDAQ or whatever. And I'm an idiot. So someone was like, oh, when it joins the NASDAQ, it'll split, and then it'll be worth double, blah, blah, whatever lie I was told by some finance bro. And I was like, all right. So I bought it. It joined the NASDAQ. It dropped 40, went from 121 to 80.
Oh my God.
And then it stayed there for like a year and a half. And then something came up, and I was like, oh, I need this money.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I lost half my money.
Oh.
I lost a third of my money.
Right. I don't know how that happens.
Love it.
But yeah, I think it's just for me changing my way of thinking on how I treat myself. I got to treat myself a little bit better because it's like I can't constantly just worry about money. Can't worry about if my one decision is going to bum someone out for like an hour of their life, where I'll think about it, it'll bum me out for like a year of my life. Like, oh man, I could have done this one thing for, it's just my head, my brain just thinks too much. It just got to like reel it in a little bit and just be like, all right, think of the immediate situation. I just want to go away. I just want to go do something nice for myself because it's been a year and I've been trapped inside and I haven't done much of anything. And so basically I went to bed last night and I was like, let me think about it. And I hit on Google Flights. You can track the price of a flight, right? So they'll like send you an email if it goes up or down or whatever. And no word of a lie, man. I got into bed and it was like 2 a.m. and I got an alert on my phone that said the flight you're monitoring has went up, and it went up like $100. It went from like $240 to like $359. And I was like, well, all right, I guess I'm not going. Like I made my mind up. I was like, oh yeah, okay, it's not meant to be. Like, this is like that catastrophic thinking, like, oh, I should have done this, but it like on a minor level. Then this morning when I got up, I had my computer still up. My browser was still open to Google Flights, and the flight, I was like halfway done booking it. And the price was still $244 for the whole price. So I was like, if I get to the end of booking this flight and the price doesn't change, I'll do it. And I got all the way to the button where you click and say submit your credit card number. I clicked it, It stayed at 244, and I was like, all right, boom, I did it. So I don't know what that alert was about. Maybe because I didn't refresh the page or whatever, like the cookies or whatever were still old or whatever. Anyway, the cookies. So I did it. So I'm going to go to Las Vegas. I'm just going to, eat some donuts at the vegan donut shop that we all love and look at the mountains and hopefully it's like whenever I go
Tacos and beer.
tacos and beer. Whenever I go to
beer and
Vegas, it's a
tacos,
little bit
one
of
of
a reset spot. I really like the mountains and shit. So
Yo, you ever done like a helicopter ride over Grand Canyon?
no, I don't think I would want to do that. Helicopters sketch me out.
Helicopter scared the hell out of me, but I think that's one of those things where it's just like, sack up, let's go. Is that not the PC?
Yes, sack up.
Sack up? Is that toxic masculinity?
I think it is.
That's all right. I can use one or two of those.
Well, what I'm gonna do for the next for however long, because of the topic of this week's podcast, I'm gonna look at situations I get in and things that I might want to change and how they relate with one another, and I'm gonna write them down, and maybe in a couple months we can revisit this topic and see kind of like how
If we've changed.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, there you go.
Central Time, it's 1:38. We all 1:38. All right. All right. I think we're good here.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. See ya.
Thanks for doing this with me.
Yeah.
I want to take a second. I really appreciate what you did here with me. And obviously Sally and Tony at Gov's Radio.
Mm-hmm.
This has been extremely helpful for me.
I'm glad. That's awesome to hear.
And I don't know. I feel like I'm turning a corner now. I'm like,
yeah,
starting to walk. I'm
awesome.
Getting my life back together, and
that's great, man. I'm happy to hear that. The fact that you could recognize that you're turning a corner is the momentum you need or can ride into just doing those things you haven't been doing for the past 4 months or whatever, So that's great. You have your little your checkpoint.
I made myself a sandwich yesterday. Was the first time I was able to do that.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I immediately texted my wife, like, because she's in Florida for the weekend. I made a sandwich. Like all caps.
That's awesome. I am very happy. I'm very happy for you. That's great.
Yeah. I didn't break anything. I didn't drop anything. Yeah.
Good job.
I have a hard time standing up because I've been sitting in this seat for like 4 hours, but yeah. Thank you. I just want to thank you. Thanks, Sally and Tony, and everyone at Gov's Radio.
Thank you. And thank
you. See
you
you next week.
Being you. Good luck.
All right, brother. Love you.
Love you. I'll see you soon. Have a good one.